You have an immigration interview coming up. Maybe it's for your naturalization, your green card, asylum, or a visa at a consulate abroad. This is your moment of truth. This is what you've been waiting for. This is the moment where an officer will review your case and make a decision about whether you deserve to be approved and you want everything to go great. One of the questions that I get is how to prepare for these interviews. What do you say? What do you do? What questions are going to ask? And what documents do you need to bring with you to the interview? If you don't know me, my name is Josh Goldstein, and I'm an immigration attorney here in Los Angeles, California, and I help people all over the country and around the world achieve their immigration dreams. We're going to be talking about one aspect of the interview. What documents do you bring with you to your interview? The goal for your interview when it comes to documents is to make sure that when your interview is over, you have given the officer every single document that she needs. If you go to your interview and the officer asks you for a particular document and you say, oh, I don't have that, it's at home or it's not around, and the officer has to ask you to get the document and bring it back, then you have not met this goal. So the goal is that by the end of the interview, everything is received. Number one, immigration loves paper. They're old school. You might have a document that's on your phone or your iPad, and maybe you think that you can just show the officer your phone or your iPad instead of bringing all this paper with you. That's not the way it works. You need to bring paper. This is paper only. Number two, you need to bring with you a paper copy of the interview notice. If you don't bring the interview notice, the interview will not be able to be conducted. They use the interview notice to check you into the interview and to get your appointment scheduled and processed. Number three, and this is super important, bring everything. What I mean is that when you go to your interview, you need to bring every single shred of paper that has any possible relevance whatsoever to your case. Now, for example, you're at home, you're getting ready to prepare for your interview, and you pull out a sheet of paper and you think to yourself, should I bring this to the interview or should I leave this at home in my house? Well, of course, the answer is that you bring it with you. Bring everything with you. I don't care if you need to bring a bag of documents, a box of documents, a whole wheelbarrow full of documents. Bring as many documents with you as you feel necessary, but under no circumstances should you leave anything behind. Number four, you need to bring your civil documents in their original format. So when I talk about civil documents, I'm talking about things like birth certificates, marriage certificates, divorce certificates, passports, criminal dispositions, death certificates possibly. These are documents that are what I would call a civil document. And those documents should be either in their original format or certified as original by the court or agency that issued them. If you go to your interview, and let's say you had an old criminal case from many years ago, if you go to your interview and the officer is going to ask you for the disposition from your criminal case, if you just bring a photocopy of that document, that will not be sufficient. It has to be certified as authentic from the court that processed the case. Number five, bring with you to the interview a copy of the copy. When you go to the interview, you're going to bring all these documents with you. And some of those documents you may give to the officer. Well, you want to keep a copy of what you give to the officer so you have a record of what you've given. So you bring a copy of the copy. You bring two sets. Now, when it comes to the original civil documents like marriage certificates and birth certificates and things like that, those are original documents. You may have to give those original documents to the officer. So it's a great idea to get more than one original document. So if you're going to go off and get your birth certificate, get 3 or 4 original copies of your birth certificate so you have multiple copies of all these documents. When you go to your interview, you want things to go really well. You want things to go smoothly. You want to make sure you have all the right documents, and the advice that I've given you today will greatly help you with this. But there are so many other aspects of your case. How do you know what you should do or say or prepare? I have great news for you. I have an amazing free resource that you can download. I'll put it here. It's everything you've ever wanted to know to prepare for your interview. And it's going to be a great tool to help you get prepared.